Real reviews, live and unapologetic. New episodes every Thursday at 8 at vvclife.com.
This episode is brought to you by our Patreon members. Sign up right now, patreon.com/VVCLife. And thank you to all of the patrons that have already signed up and are supporting us right now.
No ticket.
We back. We in the building. You know what I'm saying? Real Reviews is on Dizak. I got the guy right here. They call this guy Movie Lingo, Eddie Lingo.
Yes, sir.
The dictator of movies. You know what I mean? And I'm just your lowly engineer guy. Like, you know what I'm saying? Jizzy Pimp Pod Daddy is in the building. So we gotta we've watched some films. We got into some shit this weekend, so we gotta review you know what I'm saying, the feature. I call this like the feature blockbuster of the week. You know what I'm saying? This is the one that everybody's going to the theater to see. And it's called freaking Hunger Games. Hunger Games Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes.
We're live.
Are you coming to the tree?
The Hunger Games, they're to punish the districts. Those tributes don't have a choice.
Your role is to turn these children into spectacles, not survivors.
So we both be free.
It's why we have teeth.
Imagine it was your name that they pulled.
Strange things can happen here.
I just want to know that somebody still cared about me, that I was still of value.
Welcome to the Capitol.
You look like you shouldn't be here.
I shouldn't, but I'm your mentor.
A rebel.
I am gonna get you out of here.
I'm busting at the seams to get to the root of the story. We gotta talk about this, man. I will say my initial impressions when I first saw the trailer is I don't care, but it's big enough for me to go to the theater to watch. You know what I'm saying? I've seen two. I think I might have seen all three of them, of the originals, but I know I saw the first two, guaranteed. I don't know if I saw the third one or not. Who cares? You know what I'm saying? So when this came out, it's been, if I'm correct, it's been close to a decade, right?
Oh, that's a good question. Let me get that info for you.
You know what I'm saying? And while he's looking that up, the only reason why I'm making this point is that this intellectual property has kind of fallen outside of conversation. It not saying that it didn't have memorable moments or it didn't have things that people did and all of that, but there was a time period when Hunger Games was a constant conversation. It was something that the America was like really, 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 really big on. And you know, because kids kind of watched it. It was violent, but it was something that kids could watch. It had some pacing, and it had a unique story. It was not, I mean, it's not unique, but it's taken Running Man and making it for kids. You know what I'm saying? Or you taking movies where there's a terror dome, you know, and people are fighting for their lives, and you making it for children. And then making a more complex storyline, giving more reason, because if you've seen the movie Running Man, or if you've seen Thunderdome and all of that, Mad Max Thunderdome, these are post-apocalyptic films. Hey, governments have fallen, and there's kind of like this kind of weird situation and whatever. So like in the Hunger Games, there's a great war, and in this great war, one side wins, and then the Hunger Games is created as a tool to manipulate and control the public. So, I'm saying, in this world, in this, particular episode, Hunger Games, Ballad of the Songbird and Snakes, this is the prequel to the first film that was released. Why would anybody want to watch this? Well, I'm actually excited about that. I was very excited about the concept of seeing what started the Hunger Games, but that was a thing I was disappointed in. It's like, because when I come into watching this, the Hunger Games had already been invented, so they're like 10 years in already. So I'm like, okay, so I'm not getting an origin story, but I'm kind of getting a turning point story, and essentially you're finding out who the main characters are that end up being in the next film. And when I say main characters, I'm really meaning the people that are controlling the Hunger Games in the first film. And you're getting the history, you're getting some real history about the Hunger Games. And you kind of they tease the origins of the hero of the original. So and I was like, oh, that's cool. In between that, there's a ton of up and down, left and rights. I think we all kind of knew what we were working on. I don't want to give nothing away, but I want to give Eddie a chance to talk. Your initial impressions.
My initial impression was the same. I actually was not excited to see it. I watched the first two. I didn't watch the third one, which they shot together and broke it in two parts. So like you said, it was about a decade. The third one came out in 2014, part 1 and part 2 they released in 2015. I didn't watch that. I was already kind of hesitant after the first one, but I thought the second one would pull me in, and it didn't. So when I saw this trailer, I wasn't really motivated to go watch it. But like you said, it's a big enough franchise, and I'd be doing this show a disservice if we didn't go watch it and didn't discuss it, because this is our job, you know what I mean? So I but I did not go in with any high hopes or any look forward to it at all.
And I honestly, I love walking into the theater with no expectations, because that means I'm open to being entertained. I'm not looking for something to be a specific way. I'm just coming in, you know what I mean? Now, for the purpose of honesty, I would like to say I was probably 5 or 10 minutes late getting into the theater. And I came in. I came in when the main character is in the big round room with everybody and the little short nigga for the first time. So they're having that first conversation. That's when I came in. So I don't even know. It could have been the first 5 minutes, 3 minutes. I don't know when the movie started. That's the time I came in.
Yeah, you missed about 5 minutes.
Yeah. So like our lead guy is, which you find out is struggling, like, surprisingly, most of the people in this film, even the ones that are supposed to be well off, aren't necessarily balling. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I was like, that was something I found to be quite weird about this period piece. Well, not period, because it's not in reality, but this world that you don't ever see until you get to the first film. But I'm talking about in this time period, in this particular film, nobody looks rich. Even the rich people that's supposed to be rich ain't really rich. They still, you know what I mean? Like, yo, you still got to eat like a certain amount of food. Like, you don't get, you don't see niggas riding around in big Benzes, and niggas they talk about certain people having influence or having the ability to do certain things, but everybody's still subject to this kind of crazy overbearing governmental institution. So even you are high up in the world, you still ain't shit, because you can get plucked out like for nothing. Like, if you fart the wrong way, it's a problem. So you have a lot of people who are in high society vying for power, vying for position, so you got a whole lot of that going on. That made me start paying attention, because I was like 2 seconds from like zoning out. So like once they rolled in the kids who are actually going to be in the Hunger Games, that's when things start turning up. You get to see all of these different personalities, and then obviously you get to see the big personality, and that's when the movie fell apart for me. Right at that when they drag her butt on stage and she does all that stuff that she does, movie falls apart. because how do you come up with this rigid world where like farting and sneezing is not cool, and this chick just goes way, I mean, she goes way over the line, and everybody's like, oh, it's cool, dog, let them rock. Like, what? So at that point, that's why I was like, okay, so you're gonna break your own rules within the first 20 minutes of your movie. I know what I'm in for. And if are we moving to highs and lows, or am I just rambling at this point? I'm sorry.
I'm with you. Whichever way you want to go, I'm ready.
All right. So now off of me rambling, let's get into the highs and lows. I'll tell you just like this. My highs for this are quite simple. I loved, and when I say love, I mean I really, really, really loved the costumes. I love the world that they created, which obviously a lot of it is CG. And I love how they put time into the nuances of separating the worlds, like what they look like, what they feel like, what people are to expect, you know, stuff like that. I really enjoyed I love the rudimentary Hunger Games, and I loved how they were very, very good at specifying the differences between the two. You know what I mean? Like, this is what this is about. This is what that is about. This is what this word is about. They really did a good separation. Even down to the invention of like how certain things come into play and them explaining it away, I thought was really, really well done. I love the tension. I felt like they did a great job with me being tense because there are so many things that are on the line, and your main character is catching hell from different directions. I mean, none of it is somebody putting a gun in your face, but there's always these subtle, there's nothing more horrible than somebody subtly coming to you saying, man, if you don't goddamn, I'm going to get your ass the hell up out of here, and you going to be, you know what I mean? And everybody's just like, damn, this dude is constantly having to be on his toes. And then the ending of the film is pretty cool. Like, you know what I'm saying? I kind of loved how it ended. Did it have some plot holes? Yeah. I'm trying my best to not give shit away. I apologize if I might sound a little cryptic, but there's so much here, and it's so easy to start getting into details, and I don't want to do that. But the ending I enjoyed. I felt like certain things were, everything was, you know what? Let me shut up, because every time. Let me tell you something. There's a moment when I feel like, yo, the storyline's falling apart towards the end. But then it's like, it's supposed to be that way. There's supposed to be certain things that I'm not supposed to understand. I'm not going to, no. If you really pay attention, you can piece it all together. Right. And you'll start understanding stuff. And there's supposed to be X amount of deception and crazy stuff going on. And I enjoyed it. The lows on it, how do I do that? Lows. Okay, lows. I didn't like the little girl that was the main shorty, like the main chick that was singing, the little mate. I ain't like
Lucy Gray.
Yeah. Now, I don't like her because I just in general don't like her. She's a great actress. I think it's just her physical appearance, because she's so literally so small. And I don't know. I just felt like they could have used a different actress, but she acted her butt off, and she sang her butt off. So I gotta respect that. Like, when you talk about playing a part, she played the hell out of the part. But I just, wasn't feeling it. So at this point, other than that, I actually enjoyed it. Like, for real. Could have been some more black people in there. And you know what? Let me shut up. There were plenty of black people in the film. If there could have been more black people that weren't lawn furniture, or
that were in the Capitol.
Yeah, no matter where they were, whether they were in the towns, where they were, because there were people there were black people spread everywhere. So it wasn't racial. I'm not trying to make it seem like it's some racial stuff. I'm just felt like, you know what I'm saying? If they was if the black people was in the Hunger Games, they was ignorant, dumb, and sick. The main bad person is black, but she looked deformed. You know what I'm saying? And then the ones that were in the capital that were like, you know, supposed to be the smart, high class people, they still came off weak.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And kind of like step and fetchy vibes. You know what I'm saying? So that was probably the only thing. But I mean, I understand, like, you know, when you white, of course you're gonna assume that all black people are supposed to fall within those categories. So it is what it is.
Right.
So let me shut up and let the God go. Go ahead, big dog.
Yeah, so for me, the highs were actually just uh the story itself before it started to fall apart. I was expecting one thing because I didn't realize there was such a time gap. I really thought we was kind of leading up to a closer time period to the original film, and then when
Right.
it actually the highs, what a big high for me is that after I finished the movie, it made me go back and watch the original one. It made me appreciate it a little more because they had so many little nods and things going here, and it was like that was the 10th annual one, and then the first movie was the 74th annual one. So 64 years have passed, and I thought that was interesting seeing how I'm not trying to spoil anything, but the games were about done. I'll say that, and I actually appreciated even in the efforts of some people to destroy it, ended up making it greater and getting it to that point. You know, and then a lot of the things that happened, you know, shaped some of the characters that we ended up having to the point where I almost felt sorry for the lead at first. Because you know, if you're a big fan of the books, which I'm not, you're already coming in with a hatred for the lead. But me, I was feeling the story, feeling bad, wanting to know how it was going to go left, and then when it did, I thought as long as the movie was, now I'm going into my lows, as long as the movie was, that the choices of people made to deceive or turn on each other should have been flushed out better. You know, I didn't feel like it was strong enough, especially with that much passion and emotion between some of the characters. I felt like the betrayal was a little too. It kind of came out of nowhere. I mean, I knew it was coming, but I thought it should have been a little bit more there before, especially if you're gonna have a movie that long. You should have took the time to focus on that because that is actually what gets us the setup for the first movie. Go
If
ahead.
I'm not, I want you to finish. But the reason why I stopped myself when I was doing my review is because I realized that there's so many small little nuanced things that are telltale things of what's going to happen at the end or what the real mentality is. It's like that's when I caught the genius of it. I was like,
Mhm.
yo, I need to go back and watch the entire film over again because after you see the ending, you can see all of the breadcrumbs throughout the film if
Oh,
you
the
watch
hints.
of how the characters both got to
Right.
the place they were into and how we got to that kind of resolve at the end. But go ahead.
Right. No, I agree with his character. I see it all, but the other character, I'm not gonna say who. I felt
Right.
like they still could have done a little more, even though we were able to piece it together. But I feel like great storytelling shouldn't have to have you doing too much work to piece it together. You know what I'm saying? So that was a low for me with um and I'm just gonna leave it at that. But I did enjoy the movie. I still enjoyed the movie, and it made me go back and watch the original Hunger Games again. I came home immediately, turned it on, and watched it, and it made me appreciate it more. Didn't really change my whole perception of the entire franchise. I don't know if I'm gonna ever get to that third one, but I did. It did give me a more of appreciation for the original.
Yeah, I mean to see even when you watch this film and you see how they created this huge coliseum and you see how it was in the beginning of the film and then how it is when the games take effect. I feel like I think they did such a great job layering how certain things either happen accidentally or out of trying to destroy it, how
Mhm.
it made it better. So it's
It
just like,
basically led to its evolution.
right. It was like this particular year was special because, you know, the Coliseum physically goes from one style to another. And
Mhm.
then in that style, you start seeing, man, there's a lot more opportunity here. You know,
Yeah,
there's
let's
oh,
open up
we
these games.
right. We've opened it's a physical opening up of the games. There's a mental opening up of the games.
Mhm.
There's a physical time opening of the games. Because you remember they keep talking about how the games have never been this long before. Like they're normally bop, bop, bop. And then now you're having this kind of like crazy long thing, you know what I'm saying? And then you start seeing other elements of the film, and I don't want to give it away, but like you see things start to go up, you start to see more engagement, and so many things happening. And it's just like, if you are any level of a smart person behind the scenes watching this, as much as you see things going bad, you see, but yeah, they went bad, but like, look at that. Like, ooh, okay, we might need to be doing a little bit more of this. You know, even to the I thought it was genius when old boy was just like, yo, we should be able to like really work with the people. Like, yo, you just not even letting us touch them. Like, yo, you ain't even letting us, like, you want me to help somebody, but I can't talk to them. Like, I can't be around them. Like, yo, you need to give me the ability to really, like, you know, I need to be able to coach them. Like, I don't know what the fuck is the point of me standing here if I can't, you're asking me to do an impossible job. I can't coach the person. I can't be close to them. If I can't give them resources, if I can't, you know, you want me to, all right, so you're going to bring somebody in that's like half dead and do what with it? You know what I'm saying? And then they're like, well, you know, and it's crazy because you're watching the film and they're pushing back like, man, the fuck you mean? Like, yo, we just trying to get this shit over with. And it's just like, then what's the point?
Right.
Yeah, what's the point? If you're bringing a bunch of, you know what I mean? And like, as much as I don't have a human side, but as much as I'm like, you know, I'm kind of the same way, let's just get it over with. The other boy's got a point. It's like, if you're talking about giving people a show.
Mm-hmm.
Let me give him a show. Like, let me do my thing. Like, if I need to give Shorty something or I got to do this, it's gonna make everything better. And then like all of these little subtle nuance things that are brought to bear that ended up being things that I didn't understand or didn't make as much sense in the first film, it ends up making so much sense.
Right.
And you're like, whoa, like, okay, I get it. And it makes, like you said, it makes you want to go back and watch the original. It makes you appreciate the original a lot more because, let's be real, as consumers who didn't read the book,
right, that's the thing.
World, it all seems over the top.
Right.
The fuck?
They didn't explain enough for us that didn't read.
Right. They dropped you in the world, you got to go with it. And so you kind of start dissing it because you're like, this fucking corny ass shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? But then when you see this, you go, okay, yeah. Like, why did you start asking the questions? Why? Wait a minute, what happened to the this and that, this and that? Like, yo, I remember, and it's like, oh, none of this existed. Oh, so you get to, so I was like, yo, was like, to me, that's what makes a great prequel. That's what makes a great, you know, origin story, or like, and then you don't understand certain elements. Like, you don't understand why is these two niggas beefing, or why is this, but then at the end when it starts wrapping it all up, you go, oh, okay, and then you see, oh, okay.
At first I thought it was just like hate. I'm like, why are you hating on them so heavy? But then you get that little bit at the end, and okay, I understand now.
He was hating super heavy. Like, it was disrespectful. It was like, really, like, us as an audience, we like I never want to hate on the short nigga from Game of Thrones. He's like one of the illest niggas of all time. Right. Even when he's making me hate him, I'm still not hating him. But I'm confused because I'm like, well, nigga, what the fuck going on?
Yeah, what's your deal, man? He was going out of his way.
He was going way out of his way. Like, come on. Certain shit that he was like, come on, bro. You know what I mean? I really just wanted to jump in the movie and be like, come on, bro. What's going on, bro? What's up? You my dog. I fuck with you. Like, I give you 20. Just tell me what's up.
Yeah.
So like, you get that resolution at the end and you get to see all that stuff unfold. You're like, ooh. And it wasn't like just some lame little, it was like, oh, there's a real, oh, fuck, like, you know what I mean? And that's why I was like, yo, this movie does a great job, man. Like, and even for the main character, for him to go from one extreme to the next, I could understand it, because if I'm imagining these niggas is only 18, 19 years old.
Right.
So I could go this way and be this nigga, but I could go over here and be this nigga. And then, like, to be forced into your path just out of, and this is what makes this movie great, because there was a point where I'm thinking these two are misunderstanding each other And it's only gonna make. I know you'll be like, I don't get what the fuck y'all talking about, but I'm just talking. It's like these two motherfuckers is in a space together. I felt like they were misunderstanding each other, and then that ended up being a problem. But there's another perspective where there was always a certain air of certain shit, and then it just got resolved by certain things being said, which caused the action to be what it is. Then there's another layer of, I mean, there's so many ways you could go about thinking about the main character's thought process going into with the girl. You know, they doing their thing. And I feel like he said some shit not paying attention.
Right.
Or he could have been paying attention just to see. He could have did that on. That's what I'm saying. He's methodical in certain ways, but he's still a kid in other ways. So it's kind of hard for me to figure out, was this, but this is what makes it good, is I don't know whether things were intentionally said or was he just having a vulnerable moment while they trying to do their thing. And then she reacts and then it becomes what it becomes. You know what I'm saying? And then that core moment ends up coming back around, which you say 75 years later. Like, that's some crazy shit. Yeah. You know what I mean? So like the same way he got into a fucked up situation based off of some shit that his father and friend, you know what I mean? Like, that's crazy. Like, you know what I mean? How these things keep connecting in different places.
Yeah.
So
it was well thought out when they put it in the writing. It was well thought out, you know. But with that, those things that were said that caused the divide, I felt like his sister got a glimpse of it more than she did. I wish she would have got that same glimpse when the sister was like, you know, she looking at him after that situation and the way he was talking about the way it made him feel. She, you know, you could see the concern of where he's going with this and how it's making him feel. I wanted the lead female to get that instead of just those words alone. But I mean, that's just me just being a bit nitpicking. It was a great story, and I really enjoyed it.
Word. All right, let's get into the review segment of this. So what is we doing? You know what I'm saying? Is it a classic? Is it a good watch? Catch it on streaming. Not doing it for me. Oh, hell no. If you ever show me this shit again, I'ma slap y'all.
So I'm gonna say, because this actually made me go back and watch a movie that I have for decades been for over decades saying I hate it, and then made me appreciate it more. I'm gonna have to give it a classic.
Bam! I didn't see that coming at all. I did not see that coming at all. Oh, what? You bugging. Shout out to you for that. I yeah. Okay, so you putting pressure on me, like, wow. I would say good watch. I'm because of you, I'm gonna bring, because I was gonna say catch it on streaming.
All right.
But, you know, based on the information you just gave, I respect it. It's a good watch.
I appreciate it. It is definitely a good watch.
It's definitely a good watch. Like, I was thoroughly entertained all the way through. There was a lot of action. There was great character development. If I'm gonna give it one little more like little tick dig at it, is that they could have shaved it down.
Yeah,
they could have shaved it down. They could have shaved.
That was a big low for me.
They could have shaved a good 30 minutes off of this, and we wouldn't have felt it. Right. And the thing is, I mean, I enjoyed the whole film, but I don't know if it was just me, but it was like when I saw them do third act, I was like, nigga, what? Hey, I was like, you know what I mean? Because I'm thinking, oh God, how much more does I have to sit through? Like, yo, can we just get to the resolve and get out of here? Like, yo, can we get to the end? You know what I mean? And it's just like you played out so much more, but I got it. What was necessary for the third act, how they did it. I just felt like we could have, and I don't think the audience understands. If you haven't seen this yet, you don't really understand. It's like this film has a very long first and second half. You know what I mean? The Hunger Games alone, when they did that was about 45 minutes to an hour by itself. It was a long, drawn out thing. So then you had a good 30, 40 of the setup before we get there. So it's like after it's done, I'm thinking we just gonna go hotty ho, everybody, you know what I mean? And we're gonna go. But then when we get into this another 45 minutes of of this, and I felt like they were doing what was necessary. I'm not trying to beef, but you gave me so much more story where it was just like, this could have almost been 2 films. Or we could have broke this up into TV shows. Maybe we could have had the Hunger Games TV, like, you know what I'm saying? But yeah,
I would have loved that.
And I want to give an upshot. I want to give something that I loved was we got to see the original host, how he became the host.
Oh yeah,
like, it was one of things that I thought was so funny. Like, yo, that's crazy. So anyway, is there anything else you want to throw out there before we get up out of here?
I do want to point out, like you said about the host, and then you see the evolution and how I want to point out to show you how sick the time was that they complained about there was a time where a 2-year-old died in one of the games, but then by the time you got to the original movie, they had to be between 12 and 18. So there was a lot of like really dark, horrible moments about the older original games that I was just sitting there like, damn. And so and then when you watch the newer film and see what it progressed to, that's why I love that I was able to go right back. It just made me appreciate it more.
No, I definitely feel you. Like they obviously didn't show people's, getting beheaded and all of that, but they were definitely having some moments where we was like, yo, that's fucked up. Like, it was some stuff, man. It was some stuff. And I respect them for certain kills were, it wasn't like we sat through an hour of like brutal killings and stuff. Like other slick stuff happened to kind of eliminate certain things. Even like, there was some other stuff that happened before the games even started that eliminated a bunch of people, you know what I mean? And it was like interesting. I'm like, I kind of respect that. Like, you know what I mean? It was like, all right, we got to get this movie going. We can't sit here and, dig down and have a scene for every death. I'm like, we'll be here for 25 hours. So I like the way they resolved getting through that. And like I'm saying, like they did a great job in pacing in certain places, and other times when it's just at certain times when they felt like they needed to like evoke emotion or make you catch on to a character, I felt like they just did too much sometimes. And I was just like, bro, you could have cut 3 or 4 minutes off of this. We would have felt the same thing, and we could have got moving forward. But if we had did that, then it would have been Hunger Games X. You know what I'm saying? Family, Songbird, and Snakes. So, like, you know what I mean? It is what it is. So, all right, man. We check y'all next time. If y'all have something that y'all want us to review, drop it in the comments. Let us know, how we can be a better service to you as the community. And don't forget to sign up on that Patreon and show some love. We catch y'all next time. It is The Real Reviews. Peace.
No ticket.